Hey everybody, Alex Newman here with The New American. We are at the Red Pill Expo, and with us a returning guest, Dr. Juliette Engel, an extraordinary human being, medical doctor, also came out of the MK Ultra program. She's written books about it, and her talk today is going to be about sex trafficking, the trafficking of human beings for sexual purposes and how to stop it. Dr. Engel, thank you so much for being with us. Tell us about, is this really a problem in America? We know it happens in other countries. I know you worked on it a lot in Russia, but is that really a problem in America too?
Yeah, in fact, I was working on the problem between 1999 and 2009 in Russia, living there, running an underground railroad rescuing trafficking victims. And we collected a lot of information about where victims of trafficking were being sent. And one of the things I discovered was one of the main, actually the top destination was the United States. So I thought this was a big discovery, and because it was a significant number that were being trafficked to the United States from Russia. And so I brought it to the State Department, I brought it to Congress, I brought it to the Trafficking in Persons Office, and nobody wanted to hear it. And of course I took it to the U.S. Embassy, and they didn't want to know about it. So I thought that was really strange. And so that was my first experience of realizing that the trafficking problem was happening in the United States, that international victims were at least coming through Russia, probably from everywhere, and going into the United States. And the government was not going to do anything about it at the federal level. So we went on and created a series of small organizations. We supported the people in Russia. Russia was a completely different situation than it is here. I mean, it was right after the financial crash of 1998. People were living in dire poverty. Whole villages would exist without electricity. There would be like one telephone for 2 villages, one radio in a library for hundreds of people. And the people were being victimized by human traffickers, international and Russian, and really couldn't do anything about it. So I got hold of a videotape called Bought and Sold, which was produced by an organization called Global Survival Network. And they'd gone undercover, and they'd mapped out, they'd interviewed traffickers by pretending to be buyers, and they'd interviewed girls in trafficking, and they'd really done a tremendous job starting to map out who was what, where, and again confirmed that these people were being sent to the United States in large numbers. And after they did that, there was a price on their head, and they could never go back to Russia.
Oh, wow.
So they said, "Here, you can have the film." So they gave us the film, and I got a little video player on wheels, and put it on a little luggage rack, and myself and like 5 other volunteers spent 2 summers going around Russia on buses by ourselves, village after village after village. And a village like that, a foreigner coming with a videotape and doing a presentation was like the event of the year. Yeah. So the turnout was always huge. And I would go, a typical story, I'd arrive in a village, the village elders would come out to greet me and take me to the school, which was probably the only place where they had electricity. And as soon as the town knew I was there, the place would pack up, and I'd show the film, and people would listen quietly. And Russians, they don't show any emotions on their faces for a very long time. And so they would sit there and just stare at me. And I would ask the question, have any of you had a family member or know of someone who's been trafficked? And the pandemonium would break out every time, because it would begin to dawn on them that this was their situation, that their daughter that had been gone overseas for 6 months for a job and they'd never heard back had been trafficked, and so the realization on these people was just it was horrendous, and to see their pain was very difficult, and so I couldn't leave without giving them a solution, So I started thinking, the way to fight this, we can't fight it at a federal level. The support in Russia at the federal level, just like the support here in the federal level, wasn't there. In fact, it was clear that a lot of the parliamentarians in Russia, just like the Congress people here, are actually involved in it. They're doing it. They're profiting from it.
Is that why you think it's so difficult to get the federal government involved here? Because there's so much involvement at the high levels of power?
I think it's a combination of corruption and lawlessness and laziness and bureaucratic stuffiness, and I think money laundering. A lot of that's going on through these massive organizations that get these huge grants to do things that they don't do, and then they fake the lists of employees. I mean, we've been caught up in that, where we get sub-grants through one of these huge organizations, and we get listed like we have 15 employees, and we really have 2. You know, so where is that going? We never know. So that's not the way to start. So I made an announcement on Voice of America because I knew they'd all listen to that, and that we're going to start a coalition. We're going to start an angel coalition, and we were going to create a roof. Because in little villages, just like here, if it's Charlotte and Irene, you know, facing down the mob in some small town in Ohio, they don't have a chance. But if they're working in conjunction with a roof, like the Angel Coalition, or maybe we'll call it Angels Over America, there's a safety in the anonymity, and there's also backup. So as soon as something goes wrong, they'll know who to call, what to call. They can get a response, and we will set all that up. So we had people in Russia start putting together little trust networks, and we'll do the same thing here. You start very small. It's you, someone you trust, someone you know in the police department. Doesn't have to be the chief of police, just anyone. Someone in media that you know, someone that writes for the newspaper that you trust. So you get your little trust network together. And then the next thing is that the next thing we did in Russia, and we'll do the same here, is we needed to get information, like how many people are being trafficked, where. And it's unprecedented. No one had ever done anything like gathering information throughout the former Soviet Union. So I thought, well, why not? So we got an opinionaire through the Forum Foundation, and it's a questionnaire. It's a very long, involved questionnaire, and it gives you not only factual responses, but your opinions about things. So what do you think about this? And you get tons of information. You know, they're usually right. Like people at this conference are always come up and saying, I think this is happening. They're, 90% of the time they're right. So we held a coast-to-coast chat room in Russia. So it went 11 time zones from Vladivostok to Kaliningrad. And we had to send out the questionnaires and the information out on buses and trains because there's no mail. And we couldn't phone anybody, so we kicked that off. This was in 1999. Kicked it off on a Saturday morning, and I was in the headquarters of the Glasnost internet provider, and we didn't know if anybody was going to even show up. But they did. Thousands of people got themselves to internet centers and participated and filled out questionnaires. I mean, they didn't even have number 2 pencils in Russia. So we had to send out pencils with the questionnaires. So
so you want to replicate that in America now? How are you going to start? Is there a place where people can go? How can people get involved or support the effort?
Well, right now we're just signing people up for an internet newsletter. Okay. And I can tell you that I've already been approached by government agencies because they know I've done this. I've been a grantee. I've gotten funding from State Department, from USIA, from BECA, from the whole spectrum, from the tip office. And they know I'm serious. So in that they know I'm serious, they want to know what I'm doing. And so I keep telling them it's just going to be a little local effort. And it is, because it's the little local effort that's going to coalesce together and create a movement. And that movement is going to change things, and nothing else is going to. And, it's tempting to want to restructure everything. All of our institutions are crumbling, coming apart. So it'd be nice to think we should do this and do that. No, I'm going to focus on the one thing I know, and that's how to build a coalition to stop trafficking, aid law enforcement, aid victims, help rescue victims, document, cases of trafficking, and how to make that a tremendously efficient effort. So I think that's going to be my contribution too.
How do people sign up for the newsletter?
Well, I've got a sign-up sheet here.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll have to put together a website. But I think I look at the group here, and I think everybody we need is here. Mm-hmm. And these people, if we get 20 people signed up, then those people will start their trust networks, and we'll get each one of them will have 5 trusted people, and then other people will start to come. So rather than put it out there as a come one, come all, you're going to get everything, I'd rather have my own trust network. So I want people that I've eyeballed with, and I know are sincere about not just sabotaging us, because we'll be sabotaged.
Oh, yeah.
Right and left.
Yeah.
And as soon as there's money, then people start competing. So we don't have any money, fine.
Yeah. Before we let you go, I know you, we talked about this the last time we had you on the program. You went through some crazy stuff as a child. In fact, you were involved in things like this, involving the government itself.
Probably it's my view, yes.
Yeah, well, give us a short summary of some of what you experienced as a child growing up, and the MK Ultra program and your involvement in it.
Well, I was the victim of child trafficking, and my father sold me to a CIA cult called Sex Magic, which was an MK Ultra Monarch program. And I was in that until I escaped at the age of 17. That involved every horrible thing you can think of. And the thing that saved me was, this is kind of an interesting aside about Ed Griffin.
The chairman of the Red Pill Expo. Yeah.
Yes. And the fact that I wind up here at the Red Pill Expo after all this time. But when I was 15 years old, I was coming to the end of high school, and at that point, if you're in the MK Ultra program, you either sell your soul and get the rewards and become like a high government official or movie star, whatever they want to put you, whether you're talented or not. You're going to get the gold if you give them your soul. And I wasn't going to do that. But the alternative is they make it clear they're going to kill you. So I had no future, basically. So I was casting around for answers. And I started going to John Birch Society meetings because I could bicycle there. I could get there on my bike. And I listened to one speaker in particular who was talking about conformity and communism, and as opposed to the individual. And how it was conformity that destroys civilization. So the blandness, the bureaucracy, the weight of everything, just like we are now, brought down Greece and Rome. And I was so impressed by that I wrote it in my secret diary. I wrote all down about the conformity and about individualism and Greece and Rome. Those weren't 15-year-old ideas, but they had a tremendous effect on me. And within a year of listening to that talk, I ran away from the MK Ultra program and enrolled myself in the University of Washington and started life as an individual. It was as if that speaker was saying, it's okay to be an individual. You can go on your own and you can do just fine. That's what I was hearing, and it's not exactly what he was saying.
And that was Ed Griffin.
That was Ed Griffin. That was Ed Griffin. And so I have followed his work and his writing all this time without really putting it together. And then I found that old diary, and I thought, I wonder if he was the one that was talking. So I asked him, and that was him.
What a small world. It's incredible.
60 years ago. So full circle, I'm back right here with him on his 90th birthday.
Pretty amazing, Dr. Engel. Before we let you go, what's the best place for people to get your book? As it's available on Amazon, I guess. Where do you prefer that people buy it?
Amazon's fine, or Trine Day, which is my publisher. But if they go to my website, which is Juliette Engel, all one word, .com, you can see the books, see the stories, see the history of the Angel Coalition, link up to some documents and reports from what we did in Russia. So that's the place to go. But I'm deliberately, I want to keep this low-key. I really want the people that would do this, whether there's money or there isn't money, just for the love, just the true patriots, and I'm doing it for the love of our children, and that's how I want it to start. All the talent, all there will come. Just like the Angel Coalition went from 20 women that ranged from piano teachers to educators. It was the whole range, lawyers, accountants. They just wanted to do it, and it grew within 10 years into an international behemoth that was running rescue operations all over the world, basically. And in 10 years, we rescued over 70,000 people.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because you get the police trained so that, they pick up one girl and then they get the girl, but you have to teach them, then get the girl to take them to the brothel. Then you get all of them.
Yeah.
So you get 100. So
amazing. Well, Dr. Engel, it's been a real pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for all that you're doing. You really have just an extraordinary story to share, and honored to be able to talk to you. Please keep us posted, and we'll catch up with you soon. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, folks. Again, Alex Newman here at the Red Pill Expo with the New American. This is Dr. Juliette Engel. Go check out the website, check out the book. Until next time, God bless you all.